We don't want these classes to be something that's intimidating for people or people to be scared of their diabetes. We want to be able to support system for them so they can turn back to Extension or turn back to the people that they meet through these classes and really help build that support system. So, yeah, we've had individuals, when they come back to that follow-up session, have reductions in their hemoglobin A1C or have better fasting blood sugar levels or have lost weight or started reaching some of their goals that they set for themselves. And that just is an encouragement for themselves to continue making those changes in their behaviors.
Diabetes is a disease that occurs when blood glucose or blood sugar is too high. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, diabetes is an epidemic in the United States, affecting over 34 million Americans. And what's true nationwide is also true in Kansas. According to the American Diabetes Association, approximately 255,000 people in Kansas, about 11.4% of the adult population, have diagnosed diabetes. An additional 66,000 people in Kansas have diabetes but don't know it, greatly increasing their health risk. There are also 782,000 people in Kansas, just over 35% of the adult population, who have prediabetes with blood glucose levels that are higher than normal but not yet high enough to be diagnosed as diabetes. Every year, another 20,000 people in the state are diagnosed with diabetes. K-State Research and Extension offers a virtual health and wellness program to help people with diabetes or prediabetes and their family members, caregivers, and support persons learn strategies to lessen the health risks of diabetes. On today's Sound Living, Dining with Diabetes. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wichman. Southeast Family and Consumer Sciences Regional Specialist and Kansas Dining with Diabetes Coordinator Christina Holmes says the virtual program being offered in May consists of a series of 4 classes with a follow-up session in July. Christina, first off, maybe just some background on the program itself. How did Extension get involved with this program, and really why is this an important program for Extension to be offering?
Kansas State Research and Extension has been offering the Dining with Diabetes program for approximately 5 years. And we have found that there's a high risk of people developing diabetes or people that have diabetes throughout the state of Kansas. We want to be able to provide that educational opportunity for those individuals with diabetes and their support systems to improve their health and their health outcomes.
I think I remember seeing a statistic that said something like 1 out of every $4 is going towards people who have diabetes. Is it something like that?
Diabetes can affect your entire lifespan. It affects your quality of life, your health outcomes. It can also lead to other chronic illnesses. And we hope with this Dining with Diabetes program, we can engage people to make those behavior choices to improve their health outcomes, but also hopefully help improve the health of their family members and their friends.
There's both direct and indirect costs associated with this?
Absolutely. Diabetes can be an expensive disease, thinking about the medication and the materials and supplies that you need to control your diabetes. They can affect your productivity at work, how you feel, your energy level, and it can affect your kidneys and your heart and your vision and your extremities as well. And so it's one that can have lots of complications, but really it's a disease that if you learn and get engaged and make those small changes, you can really get control of your disease.
And I think just over 11% of adult Kansans have type 2 diabetes?
Absolutely, but there's a high percentage rate of people that are at risk or have prediabetes that aren't aware of it. And so this is a class of someone that even if you don't have diabetes, maybe you want to learn more about it, or maybe you want to learn how to make those changes to prevent the onset of the diabetes, this could be a great opportunity for you as well.
When you say that they're not aware, that means that it hasn't been diagnosed?
Absolutely. So there's a range where if you go to the doctor, you can be diagnosed with prediabetes, but often adults don't go to the doctor regularly to get those labs done. And so it could be one of those diseases that you may have diabetes and not even realize it. Some research also indicates that people with prediabetes may also be developing the complications of diabetes before they even develop the disease.
So this is something that we want to catch early and make some modifications.
Absolutely. The diabetic diet is just basically a healthy diet that benefits anyone to follow, incorporating whole grains, fruits and vegetables, lean protein, and really incorporating physical activity with our daily lifestyle.
This is a national extension program, and it is being offered throughout Kansas by extension agents and other trained professionals. Talk a little bit about the classes that are offered.
So typically, we've offered Dining with Diabetes in a face-to-face format, and we have agents throughout the state that implement this program and do a great job. We also, in the last couple of years, have started offering in an online format. And this helps for several reasons. Some people have that independent learning and they'd rather do it on their own, but also with different work schedules and lifestyles. Maybe you have kids or don't have the support system to help watch your kids while you go to a class. This independent learning model can be very helpful and beneficial for those that are interested.
When is the session offered then in May?
Kansas State Research and Extension will be starting an online Dining with Diabetes class series starting on May 1st. The class will incorporate 5 different sessions. In the month of May, we'll have a session that will open each week, and so individuals have the opportunity to do it self-paced. You can sit down and do it all in one afternoon. Maybe you do it each evening after work. Depends on your preferences. This self-paced online course will teach individuals the basics of meal planning, carbohydrate counting, portion control, and label reading. We'll meet again in July and have an open session in July to help you evaluate your goals and your outcomes and the improvements of your health that you've experienced as a result of this program.
So this is really about education and then putting things into practice?
Absolutely. Through Extension, we don't only want to provide education, we also want to support individuals in making those lifestyle choices and changes. And so through this class, individuals will learn each week a different component of diabetes. We'll also set goals, so that way you can start working on individual things that you want to do to improve your health.
Let's go into a little bit more detail in terms of the 4 classes. In the learning component, what type of things are they learning right off the bat?
So this class is a little bit different than your traditional extension program. It's all self-paced. The presentations are pre-recorded and released weekly, so that's important to realize and understand when you sign up that you won't have a live instructor. You'll be able to do it at your own time span and your own convenience. Each class talks about a little bit different things about diabetes. We talk about the complications, talk about carb counting and what are the sources of carbohydrates in our diet. We learn about protein and fat and portion control, and also learn how to read labels so we understand the foods that we're consuming and the portion sizes we're supposed to be getting in our diet.
The demonstrations then, is that food preparation?
Yes, so there's demonstrations on cooking recipes on this curriculum. This gives individuals an opportunity to see how easy it is to prepare some of these healthier foods. The only con of online learning is you don't get to sample the items, but it gives individuals the skill set to be able to then implement that recipe at home and prepare it for their family.
And I think the important part here is the fact that a lot of these can be their favorite recipe. It just needs to be maybe altered somewhat with the ingredients that go into it.
Absolutely. I think if people start making gradual changes to the foods they consume, we can still eat a lot of the foods that we love and we're used to. It may be just changing the recipe a little bit or maybe changing the portion size that we consume.
You've mentioned carbs several times, so that's one of the things that we're trying to control.
Yes, with diabetes, carbohydrate intake is something that we want to monitor, which we call carb counting. And so those are kind of really individualized and getting an idea of how many carbs you need at a meal and how to gradually make those reductions so you're eating balanced and getting the right amount of carbs that you need.
Sometimes we talk about healthy oils and not so healthy oils. Are there healthier carbs than there are maybe some unhealthy carbs as well?
Absolutely. So I always try to say there's no bad food because as soon as you say that, that's the food that you crave and you want to eat more often. But when we think about our grains, trying to get more whole grains in our diet is important. They're a higher source of fiber and some nutrients, which will fill you up faster and keep you full longer. Also, carbs are things like milk and our fruits, and those provide a lot of nutrients that our bodies need. So we want people to continue to consume those. We just got to monitor how much we have at our meal. We also think about our sweets and our treats and our sweetened beverages. Those can incorporate a lot of carbohydrates in our diet. So we've got to monitor portion sizes and how frequently we're having those items.
Is that one of the things that is maybe lacking is we don't often realize maybe how much sugar we're taking in? So maybe by being more mindful of it, we notice some of those things like you were saying, like a soft drink or, some sort of sweetened drink that we just maybe don't think about.
Yeah, so a key component of this program is talking about label reading and teaching people how to read labels and understand what they're consuming. If you think about it, a can of pops can sometimes have the amount of carbohydrates that an individual needs at a meal. And so if we think about that in portion size and how frequently we're having those items, gradually reducing those can make a big difference in our weight and our blood sugar control and our overall health. So this program is really designed to empower individuals to start taking control of some of their choices and behaviors to improve their health outcomes.
I assume we're also then looking at increasing fruits and vegetables.
Absolutely. We want people to gradually make those transitions so we're eating a balanced diet. When you sit down at a meal, try to make half your meal fruits and vegetables. It's a great source of fiber and vitamins and minerals, and they're low in calories as well. So the fiber will fill you up, and the calories are limited, so it helps to reduce your calorie intake.
physical activity is also part of the program?
Absolutely. Exercising regularly is important for all health outcomes, but with diabetes control, it can improve your blood sugar levels for even a couple of days afterwards. I always encourage people to take themselves this week as their baseline and think about how physically active they are now and gradually work up to 30 minutes most days of the week.
And that's something that people can do. Like you say, if they do it gradually, 30 minutes goes by fairly quick.
Yeah, so try to find an activity that you really enjoy doing. If it's something you despise, it's not going to be a long-term change. But if you find something you enjoy, walking with friends or riding a bike or maybe playing basketball or volleyball, if you enjoy it, that 30 minutes flies by. So find something that's realistic and timely for you that fits in your routine, and then try to incorporate it on a regular basis.
Is that one of those things that fits into the goal-setting component, is trying to visualize how you'll get more physical activity?
Absolutely. We really want people to set goals for themselves, because if I set a goal for you, it may not fit with your lifestyle or your preferences. And so if people set SMART goals, something that's specific and measurable, achievable, and realistic, they may be able to stick that in their regular lifestyle and continue it long term, which is what we want.
Making the gradual changes makes a lot of sense to me. How do you kind of approach that so that it really sinks in with people that this is something that will work long term?
I think that's the best part of having this session go into 5 different sessions. Each week we learn something new about diabetes. Individuals can process that over the week, start making small changes, and by the end of the class series can really have a better grasp of what diabetes is and the control they can have of their disease. We also hope those that are pre-diabetic or their support systems that attend this class, they can really learn too, so that way we can make changes so we don't develop diabetes. But this ongoing class series I think is very important to help motivate individuals, help with accountability, goal setting, and give that opportunity for questions and answers if they run into kind of questions or problems that they may have. The main component of diabetes is having that support system, those that understand and can relate to what you're going through and the foods that you need. Nothing's more encouraging than someone saying you can't eat something or taking something away from you. But if we can learn together and hopefully as a family or a support system start making those changes together, it's going to help improve the health of everyone involved.
You mentioned that Extension has been offering this program in one form or another for about 5 years. What are the results so far? Are we making progress in this area?
Absolutely. I think the accountability is really helpful. When people attend this class, whether it's in person or in a virtual format, it really helps build their awareness. I think that's the first step in diabetes control. We don't want these classes to be something that's intimidating for people or people to be scared of their diabetes. We want to be able to support system for them where they can turn back to Extension or turn back to people that they meet through these classes and really help build that support system. So yeah, we've had individuals, when they come back to that follow-up session, have reductions in their hemoglobin A1C or have better fasting blood sugar levels or have lost weight or started reaching some of their goals that they set for themselves. And that just is an encouragement for themselves to continue making those changes in their behaviors. Whether it's stress or illness, or maybe it's when situations such as going out to eat or a birthday party or a celebration, we can talk about these things throughout the class series. If someone attends in a virtual format, they can contact the instructor and we can have these conversations and dialogue so that way we can brainstorm the solutions to the issues that they may encounter.
If people want more information about taking part in the online series, how can they do that?
So the class series is $25 to attend, and our registration closes on April 26th. But to get signed up, you can go to our website, which is ksu.edu/dining with diabetes.
And if I understand you correctly, this is self-paced, so once they're registered and once the classes have been posted, they can just get started.
Absolutely. If you get registered for the class, I'll reach out to you to get you started. And then each week a new session will open up to allow you to learn a little bit more about diabetes.
And then the wrap-up session, how do you conduct that?
Very similar to the first 4 sessions. It's just a follow-up, kind of talks about the problems that maybe they have encountered. And there's opportunities for dialogue with the instructor throughout this whole class series. So that follow-up just allows them the opportunity to maybe ask questions that they've thought of throughout that process, to report back on how they are doing with their A1C, and then just some simple additions of what else they could be doing to control their diabetes.
That's Southeast Family and Consumer Sciences Regional Specialist and Kansas Dining with Diabetes Coordinator Christina Holmes. To learn more about the upcoming virtual program, go to k-state.edu/dining with diabetes or contact your local county or district extension office. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wichman, and this is the K-State Radio Network.